Here I'm going to go over how to simplify expressions or write equivalent expressions on the state test by using the state test calculator. So first off, the difference between an expression and an equation is an equation has an equal sign. An expression does not. So with an equation, you might move things to the other side of the equal sign by doing the opposite, the inverse operations. With expressions, you don't do that. All you're doing is simplifying. You might distribute, combine like terms. That's simplifying an expression. Now, if you want to try that on your own, great. On the state test, I would recommend that you at least use this technique to check your answer. But this is the steps that you go through to solve by using the graphing calculator. So first off, the graphing calculator will not graph an expression. It only graphs equations. Has to have an equal sign. And it will not graph it unless there's an x and a y. So what you need to do with that expression, you want to change the variable to x if it's not already, if they're using a different letter. And then you need to add equals y. That made it an equation. Then you graph it. Then you go through and you graph each of the choices and see which one matches the original. So for example, this was a previous state test question. Notice you have no equal sign. It's asking which expression is equivalent to the given expression. The graphing calculator won't graph it as it is, so you need to change it to an equation. So go through and add equals y to each one. Then you want to go to your graphing calculator and graph this expression. And then if you click the plus sign, it'll give you another line to add another expression. And then on that line, you graph this. Are they the same? Is it the same graph? Are they laying right on top of each other? If not, you graph this. Is it the same? If not, delete that and you graph this. You're going to go through each of the choices and graph them to try to find which one is the same exact graph, the same picture as that original. Because if they are equivalent, if they're the same thing, but maybe just written slightly different, written as a multiplication problem or not, then the graph is going to look the same. Here's another. It says it's giving us an expression. It wants us to know which of these expressions is equivalent. So again, expressions, no equal sign. I can't graph it. You could try to graph it on the calculator, the state test calculator. It won't work. So you need to first add an equals y to each one. And again, graph the original. Then click plus to add another expression and another line will appear where you can now graph this one. Is it the same thing? If not, graph this one. So you're just checking each of the choices and looking for which one looks like the exact same picture as the original expression.